promote new projects and stuff like that.
It's
Wasn't
there.
that supposed
It's
to
there.
happen already still?
It's there. If you go right now on app.pulsex.com, you have pools and farms. If you go to pools,
Yeah, it's there. It's there. I know.
the heading says that it's just not available yet.
Yeah, that's one thing that other people, and this is why I'm trying to like bring it up. The Pulsex is going to be used for you to lock up and promote a certain token that's going to be promoted or put in a certain list on that page. And the time that you have, and this is determined by the time you have your Pulsex locked up there, and the amount or the percentage of your position in that lockup pool, you will get a certain amount of a certain token that they're promoting. I mean, basically that you're locking up value to give value to that token, basically.
Yes.
And it's going to be very interesting to see the price of Pulsex after that is being launched and fully functioning. But I don't think any of this is going to be advancing
Yeah,
without
man.
the Explorer being 100%.
Yeah. Two things. One, I think it says on that tab, pool, I think it says stake your Pulsex to get another token. The other token, it would only make sense to be ink. So if you're getting ink for staking Pulsex, you're gonna have to reduce the bonus, the ink bonus on other stuff. So the only thing that's paying ink right now is farms. So you're gonna get less on the farms if you stake Pulsex. So that's why I believe there's no staking yet. So that's the first thing. The second one is if you dilute the bonus, the ink bonuses between farms and staking, then you're going to get even less ink paid out to anyone who's getting passive income. So anyone who wants it will have to buy it. Now combine that with, for instance, halving the issuance of ink. What's the first thing you want to do if you see that the supply of ink will be cut in half and there's going to be dilution of the bonuses of ink? You're going to buy it. You have to buy it.
This is
I
some
think
really
I think
interesting stuff, man.
$1,000 is nothing. It's going to be the value of Bitcoin right now.
Why, if I did it?
What is the first of all, like, really interesting things. There's a lot that was just said that I didn't even know about ink, to be honest. I haven't really taken too much time to look into like the MasterChef contract or anything like that, so thanks for pointing those things out. What I see a few people talking about ink having kind of like a halving event every year. Can you explain more about that, like how that works?
Yes, it's an apparent halving. It's not a halving.
Yeah, it's
So
not
what
actually a
happens is,
halving, but so what do they mean when they say that?
yeah. So what happens is ink started with zero supply. Then it inflates 1 ink per second. Initially, it was supposed to be 1 ink, 3 ink per second, but it was cut to 1 ink per second. And that is on the MasterChef contract. So by the end of the first year, you have 32.6 million seconds. So you have 32.6 million ink. In the second year, you also have 32.6 million seconds. So you also have 32.6 million ink. So the supply doubles. So the inflation is 100% on the second year. But on the third year, you already have 64 million ink. So now the inflation is 50% of the total supply. So this is an apparent halving. It's not a halving by itself. It in relatively to the total supply, it is a halving. And it'll always be halving each year.
Not quite
But it's just
halving.
apparent. Yeah.
It's like 33%
Because
of the total. 33% of the supply is being added onto that total supply, not 50%.
No, in the second year it's 50% because you
Yeah.
had 64. So
The second year is 100%. And then the third year is only 33% because the total is like what? You have already 64 and it's added 93, so it's like one third
You're
of the
right.
supply, so 33%.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, thanks for explaining that.
May I add a little bit extra nuggets for everybody else? I mean, Thiago knows all the code and everything else. I just like learned a lot of the behavior that it does, and it's cool to see that once Pulsex, Pulse, and Ink goes down, The farmers the ink owners have tendencies to sell at the top, like at the top. So once they sell, where do they sell to? Pulsex and Pulse. So when you see the prices going down, farmers basically go and cushion the fall of the price of Pulsex and Pulse by dumping the value, basically not dumping, but I'm just adding this dumping the word for no reason anyway, at all times. So dumping the value into Pulsex and Pulse, so cushioning the fall of the value of Pulse and Pulsex when it's going down. It's very interesting. It's really cool mechanics, and also it works with Hex also, so it's really cool.
Yeah, thanks for adding that. That's some interesting stuff. Like I said, I never looked too deep into the tokenomics behind the incentive and the whole system. So this is some good knowledge. I do hold some. I'm more heavy into PLS and PLSX, but it's kind of changed my mind to buy a bit more incentive token, I think.
At all-time low was 8,200 pulse per ink. Now it's around 50,000. So it's gone around a few times up, and it's still the beginning. I mean, I think. Never know what happens.
What's your ratio, DMF? You're looking for 300,000 per ink.
To be extremely conservative, I publicly been saying like 150K, and then ride it up all the way to at least 300K if the pulse price doesn't go extremely high to 1 cent.
That'd be
That
wonderful.
could actually change the dynamics of the price of ink. Also, that could also just bring ink all the way up too. I don't know. It's going to be amazing.
Then it came down so quick. There's no real resistance on the way up.
No, yeah, there's absolutely nothing to the left on the chart. It's just it's going to be hard to dictate how far up it goes because, like you said, there's like no resistance.
So what do you guys think is going to be the best performing asset out of the RH coins on Pulsechain?
Ink.
My gut says ink or pulse, but
ink or pulse.
But I think people are sleeping on Hex, man. I really do.
They are.
Yeah.
Just do this exercise. I've seen someone do it on Twitter. Go check your rank on the list of holders and imagine a fictional number for the total market cap of your coin at the top of the bull next year. Now, with the same amount of dollars, go do the same with ink, and you'll see what you get. It's insane because there are virtually no whales on ink. Whales on ink are considered like 100,000 ink is a whale, where you have wallets with $70 million worth of PLSX. There's nothing like that on ink. There's like 5 wallets that have a lot of money, and that's it.
Yeah, the rest is sharks and dolphins. I was trying to keep up with the sharks, and I was at 20K, but then went to 23, 24K.
And if you're a whale, in Pulse and Pulsex, there's one thing you want, and you'll need ink for that. You want control on the farms, because one of the best ways to exit at the top of the bull is by farming, providing LP, not farming. And you want to control of how it works. And if there's a DAO by then, and again, Richard tweeted in August 2023, mainnet was already live, that there was going to be a DAO. So if there is a DAO by then, you want to control the DAO so you can control how you leave at the top of the bull. So whales will need to buy enough ink to control the DAO, and they don't have that yet. I also did another experiment, and I invite you all to do that. Randomly, go through the list of the top 100 wallets on Pulse and Pulsex. Choose 5. Go see how much ink they have. They're not even close to being a whale or on ink. Not even close. I have more ink than them.
When you think about what's best like for the ecosystem and what's going to incentivize people to bring real money over, it's very obvious that ink being high in price is a good incentive for that. And I think if ink does perform the best this cycle out of all the coins, it will be good for Pulsechain on the next cycle, if that makes any sense. People will have, there'll be more money. There'll be more money in here.
Absolutely.
And so it would make sense, just looking at this from Richard's point of view, to make ink maybe do the best just for that reason alone, because the next cycle, we're going to have a lot more money in here because of that.
Absolutely, and this is exponential because, like I said, if you the APR on the farms, it's non-linear. So if the price doubles, you get less ink. So if you get less ink, the only way you can get more ink is by buying it. You don't get enough ink to control the DAO. You need to buy it. So if you buy it, the price goes up. If the price goes up, the APR goes up, and the bonus paid in ink goes even lower. So this is going to be exponential. At some point, you'll start to see, and you can actually see that. You can try that with $10. Really, you can try that with $10. Just buy $10 of something, pair it like PLS and PLSX, and see how much ink that pays you on the first day. Then, when you get an amazing pump or an amazing dump, see the difference. You can sometimes you can get differences like 30% less ink from one day to the other because ink pump like 30% or 20%, and you get so much less ink on your farm.
Yeah.
So now, if you want to control the DAO, and also the beautiful thing about this is ink has been going down for so long, and someone just said it was only red until a couple of months ago, and now it's going up. So we still don't. There's not a lot of resistance. Yeah, that's right. But I would go further than that. I think we're still in price discovery for ink. We have no idea what ink is worth. And so we have no idea if it's overvalued or undervalued right now. It could be overvalued. I think it's ridiculously undervalued, but it could be overvalued. We have no idea.
Yeah. Well,
But
like
I
you said,
think we're going to find
oh, go
out
ahead.
pretty
Sorry.
soon.
So I was just gonna say, like, going back to the whale thing, like, if you remove the DAO from the variable, like when real money comes in, they're not looking like real money. Like I'm talking like real money. They're not looking to speculate. Like they're bridging over to make money. So it's like it just all makes perfect sense why ink is likely gonna do well. And I think, like I said, it's gonna set us up for a good second cycle.
A reward.
Absolutely.
A reward.
You
And
guys
another
don't know one thing, man. Once the farmers start actually taking their profits and pumping even more pulse up, guys, you guys don't know the metrics. They don't know the mechanics. It's going to be extraordinary, like a massive pump upwards. I'm not trying to do kumbaya and like hopes or stuff like that. It can be a possibility. Once the farmers see, okay, we are really good right now, and we freaking dump a little bit of our ink into pulse. So it's extraordinary value straightly translated into pulse, and that's gonna pump up pulse and pulsex really high.
one
And
last
most
thing
of them
before
are
I
going
shut
into
up.
stables. Most of those farmers
I'll
are going to
shut.
go into stables. They're going to be going into Pulse. I'm sorry, Panos. There's a lag. My bad.
No worries. Diego, do you
I'll
want to
shut up
finish,
right
and then
after.
we'll go over to Georgia after.
Yeah, I'll just shut up after this one. This is the question. I'm not saying it is or is not, but I think it's either a bug or a feature. If you go on pulsex.com and you choose a farm, any farm, it's not just PLSX, any farm, you can do the calculations on your ROI. So I would invite anyone to go there right now and do the math. Say you want to farm PLS and PLSX. Check how much it pays you for the first day, for one day, and then multiply that by 365 days. That's going to give you a number. And that number is much less than, then you have tabs. You can choose the calculator to calculate for 1 day, 7 days, 30 days, or a year. So now choose the tab that calculates the ROI for 1 year and check the math that you just did. It's going to be much more than 1 day times 365. This means one of two things. Either the calculator has a bug and it's not doing the math correctly, or there is a feature where longer pays better. This has not been announced. No one has talked about this bug. I've reported this bug a couple of times. What are
you saying? The bug, the calculator shows more yield than what you get. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Do you have your laptop in front of you?
I do not actually.
Okay.
But I'm familiar with the calculator, so I know I'll go look at it.
Okay, so the calculator lets you type in a value. So let's say you want to farm like $1,000 worth of something, like PLS and PLSX. So you type in $1,000. And then you need to choose for how long you want to farm. You may want to farm for 1 day, for 7 days, for 30 days, or a year. And that will do the calculation, and it'll tell you what your ROI will be. And then on the ROI, you get the amount of dollars that you get and the amount of VINK that you get. So let's say that the amount of money you put in will give you 1 ink per day. That means that after 1 year, your ROI in terms of ink is 365
But
ink.
I don't mean to cut you off, but the thing about the calculator is that that changes drastically based on
No,
market
no,
conditions. So
yeah,
like
no,
that
no.
really,
I'm
that yearly
saying,
balance would be
no, no,
is
hold
drastically
on, hold
different
on,
than it actually would be a year from now.
hold on. You can do that instantly. Like you can go there, choose 1 day, and the second after choose 365 days, 1 year. And what will happen is instead of 365 ink, the calculator will show something like 550 ink. So it's either the calculator doing the math wrong,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
or it's a feature and longer pays better. Can you
Well,
imagine
I
how
feel like if
insane
it
this
was a
would be?
feature, he would have said that because that's pretty incentivizing.
It
Yeah,
is.
if the person does not press the harvest button, should be earning a little bit extra.
True.
If anyone has
I agree that
a
that
laptop in front of
incentivizes
you, you
people
can
not
do
to
the
dump.
math right now.
Not yet.
Georgia, you've had your hand up for a while. Do you want to say something?
Maybe first I want to say good morning, good
No.
afternoon, good evening, everyone. Like I just landed at home, so thank you guys for making it refreshing and for keeping up what we're here for. This is so important. Wow, I'm listening to you and it reminded me to go and harvest my little ink token. I added 3 more ink tokens to my farm. Yay, go for me. It is, we have our second infinite money glitch. We have, ink token. Guys, I have a question for the ink token. Ink token is there's a happening, right, on the ink token?
I can explain a bit.
Can you explain a little bit about that? And then I'll have a lot of questions, guys. I haven't been able to ask anyone. So bear with me. I'll take my time. I take my break so I can ask in between. But how
It's
is the
okay.
ink
It's
token
okay.
inflationary? And also, when, let's say, if they open other farms, that means that they're going to be getting more ink tokens. So the price is going to go up, right? If the supply goes down.
Basically, the distribution goes down. I mean, in terms of if you're gonna receive less ink, because there's many more people in like providing liquidity and earning their own, trying to get their own ink also. So you're gonna be splitting that 1 ink per second to more people instead of like you're dividing it between like 100 people. Let's give an example, 100 people. Once the chain starts filling up and more people come into Pulsechain, they're going to see the liquidity pools and the incentive tokens and everything, and they once they go to the farms, there's many more people in the farms. So the distribution, like you're going, instead of getting, for example, 3 or 1 ink per day, you're going to receive half ink per day or 1/3 of an ink per day, because of the massive amount of people coming and creating their liquidity pools too, and maybe they have more funds than other people, so their slice in that pool is bigger, so they receive more than other people. That, for example, one person can come with 1 million, but then there's another person with 10,000, and there's another person with 1,000. So each one has a bigger percentage of the pool, so they receive more ink. The happening is not quite a happening. Remove the happening word from your minds, everyone. It's not a happening. Every year, it's given 31 million 31 million ink per year to all the farmers. Okay, so it's distributed by them to the farmers. So then on the second year, it comes again, and since you already have 31 million, on 19th of May, it's going to be 31 million and something ink. So next year it's going to come another 31 million or 32 million, whatever. It's that same amount. So the next year it's going to basically create a double of the supply, right? So since the first year was 21 million, the second year is another 31 million. It doubles the supply, right? So now on the third year, it's going to come again 31 million, but it's not compared to the whole supply. When you add this one onto the whole supply, it's 1/3 of the supply. So it's added 1/3 of the supply onto the full supply. right? Since you have 66 million, you're going to get, I mean, 64 million, you're going to get 96 million. Instead of, it's not no happening. It's just like, it's going to come, compared to the total supply, it's always going to come less ink, basically.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. Um, if anyone wants to come in with another question, I have a bunch of things that I want to say, but I want
Go on.
to. Okay, I just want to talk about RH, and you know that's my favorite subject. What am I going to say? You all know me. You know my addictions, and that he's one of them. And I'm not as smart as some of you guys in regards to that, but I kind of like can figure out. I like a lot of to watch a lot of movies. And I think what RH is doing right now, and everybody's saying that he's killing EHEX and he's doing this, that, and I don't think that's correct. I think he wants to, like, we should have done this, get all the attention into Hex, which is, in Pulsechain from the beginning, so we can give it strength and shake. How are we going to go to our competition or to the people who's not giving us what we want, for example, the ETH network, and wanted the fees to go down if we can still have the product there, and which is like buying it no matter, what the price is. So I think it's strategical. And number one, I think it's like Napoleon, he is conquering all the way around. So he's going to have control. He said this, he's going to take over, period. I don't know what that means to you, but if someone with unlimited funds, supposedly, that just had an incredible position on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and now the price is going up so much, I think his position is going to be even better than what he had before. So I don't think he's trying to hurt the coins that he created. He's trying to, number one, play strategically so he can position himself in a place that there's not going to have he's not going to have competition in all the little doors, that access the stuff, the crypto world. And, we need to come to the safe place, which is Pulsechain, and start building in Pulsechain. It's like people is complaining about, oh, he destroyed EHEX. Well, you know what? I think he never did that, because EHEX is there and it's immutable, and it's up to the people. But if he's telling you that Hex is in Pulsechain, let's start operating in Pulsechain. Now, if the OGs, and I'm not saying anything, because maybe if I was one, maybe I would be thinking different. But, I got a copy. I got exactly what I invested in Pulsechain. I got exactly what I had on the ETH network. I have it in Pulsechain. So are you crying? Are you like upset because you did not hit double the jackpot? Is that the problem? Because if
The problem is they sold their copies and now they're sad. That's the problem.
you see, that is the thing.
Also,
They swapped it for some dumb shit and now they're mad about
exactly.
And also, people that got in after the fork and bought EHEX after the fork and staked EHEX after the fork, they're the ones that are.
But you know what? This is the thing. The price, I'm getting t-shirts. I was one of those that started, like, when I had a chance, because I was not able to get too many Are you kidding? I'm barely a shrimp. But I was able to get 1 or 2 extra T-shares on the ETH network, for EHEX, and that's fine, because guess what? If I now put all my attention on Pulsechain and Hex on Pulsechain, they're going to unstake at the same time, right? So if the price goes up and I get a lot of money on my Hex and my stakes on Pulse, I will have enough money to get my ETH and get my other stakes out if they're worth it. But if they're not, I'm happy with the ones that I have on the Pulsechain side. So
Well said.
I feel for the people that bought EHEX.
Trade. Give it a second, man. Tiago was having like holding the hand, like lifting the hand.
Can't even hear you.
Yeah, thanks, man. So you have noticed that these tweets happen at the same time that the bridge ended the free bridge to the ETH side, right? So it clearly wants liquidity to come on to Pulsechain. He always said that. He's been saying that since 2021. He said that he was going to create Pulsechain, and he wanted everyone to bring liquidity onto Pulsechain. So at the same time, the bridge starts taking fees again for bridging over to ETH, it's when he trash talks about EHEX. He's actually not trash talking about EHEX, if you notice.
Mm-hmm.
He says that EHEX is the worst version because it works on Ethereum, and Ethereum is worse than Pulsechain. That's what he says.
He didn't say
And
it's
I
a
agree
bad
with that.
version. He said
And,
it's a worse,
and,
because if you have to choose between,
exactly.
which one is the best, okay, which one I'm going to
Exactly.
save, the rant or the strong
Exactly.
puppy?
Is
Yeah, I love my
he is
puppy,
not
but this is the
saying
one.
exactly. So, and the one thing that, and we should give credit to Famous here, because Famous has been saying this before mainnet. Before mainnet, Famous has. I cannot think of anyone else literally talking about this every single day other than Famous. The only thing that's going to make Pulsechain better than Ethereum is liquidity, and we need to bring liquidity over to Pulsechain. I've done my share. I'm not sure everyone has done their share, but we should all do our share. I'm tweeting and tagging sheep people. I'm tagging link people. They should know about this. They have no idea that they have tokens on the other side. They have no idea they have their copies. People have no idea. We are mostly talking to ourselves within the community, and we're not talking to other communities and explaining them that there's a copy that they probably have on Pulsechain if they had their tokens on chain before Pulsechain launched. They don't know that, and they don't know that there's a copy of the contract that they trust on Ethereum, because the contract is the same. And this is a funny thing. So if you bridge, for instance, SHIB over to Pulsechain, you get a wrapped version of SHIB, which has a different contract number than the contract number on Ethereum. But the same contract, the exact same contract that is on SHIB, has the same address on Pulsechain. And that's the one that people consider the worst, because its value, no, there's no value in that. No, there's a value in that. You just need to pair it with something. And the only people that can pair that with something are the people that own SHIB. Look what happened to PHEX. PHEX rapidly was overvalued against EHEX. Why? Because we were educated about EHEX and PHEX and Pulsechain, and we prefer Pulsechain. So we now need to convey that same message over to the people at SHIB and Link and other ERC20s, so that they can come over to Pulsechain and see that there's the same contract, which is worth 250 times less. I checked a few of them. DYDX, for instance, it's 270x away from the current price on Ethereum. The same contract address. So if they trust the DYDX on Ethereum, why wouldn't they trust the same contract that is owned by the same address on Pulsechain? And the only reason why they don't do anything with the tokens that they love on Pulsechain is because, one, they don't know that they exist there, and two, there's no liquidity. If you want to buy, you know what the day I checked, it was last week or something, I checked a few contracts. DYDX was one of them. Do you know the volume, the 24-hour volume for the DYDX on Pulsechain? $1. It was me. $1. There's no liquidity for other pairs. So we need to bring those guys over to Pulsechain. So that's why I tweeted today. Did you ever think that by trash talking EHEX, like people seem to think he did not?
Well,
But like people seem to think, he was actually saying the same way PHEX is going to work better on Pulsechain, PSHIB works better on Pulsechain, PDYDX works better on Pulsechain, everything else works better on Pulsechain. So now we do need to, instead of complaining that we bought EHEX because everyone sold EHEX after mainnet and that, and now we saw an opportunity and now we rugged us all. No, instead of whining, why don't you bring over people from SHIB, people from DYDX, people from Pepe, people from all over, and bring them over to Pulsechain to provide liquidity here, enough liquidity so that they can buy here and not eat as much slippage as they're eating right now, because that's the only reason you would not buy Pepe on Pulsechain instead of Ethereum. It's slippage. That's the only reason. You can even bridge over to Pulsechain and not pay the Ethereum gas fees. You can bridge to Pulsechain by paying like $5 or $10 or something. If you use stuff like PortalX, I don't vouch for them. I don't know them, but I've used them and everything went smooth and cheap with BNB. It's easy. We're just not doing our part as well as we should. We're spending too much time talking to each other where we should be spending more time onboarding people from other communities. They're already there. We're not onboarding someone from TradFi over to crypto and then from crypto to Pulsechain. We can onboard people from Sheet, from other communities to Pulsechain, which is much easier. We just need liquidity. And Famous, you need all the credit for this. I've been following you, and you've been saying this for ages.
That's a good idea. Also, the only thing is that it's not bridging outwards to their networks, but yes, creating their like getting their currency, getting their tokens over to Pulsechain, wrapped up and exchange it. Because then once they can exchange their tokens over to Pulse, it creates that extra counter where more people can join in and get into Pulse. Another thing is that every single person that keeps on talking about okay, sorry, they should actually think about one single question that has been always in everybody's mind that are core hacks. Why was Pulsechain created? That's the question. That's the answer to everybody else that actually complains. Pulsechain was created to actually have a better ecosystem to make Hex flourish. So the natural route of all the capital would be where Hex is being best treated, and that is in Pulsechain, right? So naturally, Richard Hart would actually have to give a little bit of a sign. Hey, now, Hex is well established in Pulsechain, and the living room is perfectly well decorated. So now it's time for everybody to move over to Pulsechain. Let's go. Hex on Pulsechain is master.